year of my life, but it was also the best year of my life. We won Division II Valley Championships for water polo, but I also lost my father. Now, even my closest friends, they know me, they know what happened, but they don't know how I was raised. And that's why I chose to show this video today. So, I guess I should start at how I found out. It was 6 a.m., October 21st, 2011. I had a tournament that day. I was laying in bed, and the doorbell went off at 6 a.m. I thought maybe it's the neighbor just coming over to say, hey, a tree fell in the backyard. But then I heard my mom come and answer the door, and I heard this foreign shriek, and I realized it was my mom. I heard my sister bolt out of her room next to me. Same noise. My sister was screaming. So I brought my knees close to my chest, and I repeated, not my dad, not my sisters, not my grandparents, not my cousins, not my uncles, not my aunts, not my dad, not my grandparents, and I just kept doing that until curiosity made me step out of my bedroom door and walk down the hallway. And my sister came walking towards me, tears streaming down her face, and I saw my mom talking to the neighbor and a coroner. And my sister said, Dad got in an accident last night and was killed. Now, we call it an accident, but it's not. It's an incident. Somebody chose to do this. That's what makes it an incident. So, here's the details of that incident. My dad is a truck driver, as he told all of you. He was working at Foster Farms, and he got in his beautiful Jeep, and he drove home. And it was 3:15 in the morning when he was passing on 168 Shaw Avenue. That's where the exit was. And he's in the fast lane, and he sees headlights coming behind him really fast. So he slides into the slow lane. She swerves, hits the back of his Jeep, goes under his Jeep, and he rolls. And there was no railing on the exit. And he went over 40 feet down. And his Jeep was destroyed. That beautiful, beautiful Jeep. And so she went on to go into a trial. She was convicted of murder, 15 years to life. And my dad was dead. So then came the viewing of his body. There were people coming from all over the place to come and see him. And I would walk in and out of that room. And I looked down with my cousin next to me and just started crying. I couldn't believe it. So I left the room. And then finally, as everybody was leaving, I went back in for one more time. And I swear I saw him smile. It didn't look like him. It did not. But I swear I saw him smile. And I heard, "Don't cry them crocodile tears," like he would always say when I was pretending to cry as a child. I heard him say, "Why do you always go to Mom when you cry? What about Dad? Aren't you going to be Daddy's little girl? Give me a bear hug." And so, although this is the cheesiest thing I could have said, I whispered, "I will always be Daddy's little girl." So then came the funeral. Over 500 people were in that church. There was overflow, people were standing along the side, there were people in another room, there were people outside of the church. He knew everyone. Anyone who met him was a friend of his and came to that funeral. Because he drove up and down California, LA and back, and he met people. He went on Jeeper Jamborees, which is where, I don't know, you drive around in your Jeep in the mountains. And people met him, and they loved him. And I watched a father bury his son that day. It should not be that way. At the funeral, I told stories about my dad, but I figured these videos would do just as well, because then you could hear his voice. and I was looking through these home videos. It was the first time I had heard my dad's voice in 3 years. And I forgot. I forgot what that smile looked like. I forgot how that chuckle was. And I had to be reacquainted with my father through videos. So I decided to show you guys who he was. He was full of life, childish, immature at some times. He was in love with my mother. 25 years they were together that year. He loved my sisters and I more than anything in the world. My mom searched the autopsy report for cancer, for a heart disease, for anything that was going to say he was going to die early. But there was nothing. He was going to live well into his 80s or 90s, and he was going to be there. He was going to be there to teach me how to drive, like only he could drive. He was going to teach me how to fix a car and how to buy a house. He was going to be there to see me sign on to UC Berkeley, to play water polo. He would have been there for that first game. He would have been there for all the swim meets, all the games, my senior night. He would have been there for my sister's wedding this last year. He would have been there to meet her grandkids and my grandkids and walk me down the aisle. He would have been there for the tears and for the smiles. But someone took that away from me. And more importantly, somebody took that away from him. Now, yesterday when I was standing, watching the accident, kind of moving around to see every aspect of it, I heard comments. I heard laughter. I heard stuff like, "Oh, that's not possible for the car to land like that. Oh, they're faking it. That's fake blood over there. Oh, she's not dead. She's breathing." So that's the fake side of it. So I'm going to have to get real with everyone. There are photos of my father slumped over in that beautiful Jeep of his with blood stained on the passenger seat. Those exist. There's an autopsy photo of my father cut open, and I could show you those, but they don't let us. So I'm just here telling you. When I went to see my father for the last time, they said, you can only lightly touch his chest or his hand because he had chest trauma and head trauma. And I asked my mom the other day, why was he wearing a hat? I mean, I know he wore hats all the time, but this is kind of formal. And she said, there was so much head trauma, his head was caved in. They had to put a hat on him. People don't know that what this court scene was, that you showed in 10 minutes, took 3 years. She's up for parole in 15 years. I still miss my father. There's a civil case about talking, should there have been a rail there? She was arrested 4 times before for drinking and driving. Could you imagine the hundreds of other times she had done it and had not gotten caught? Maybe she killed somebody and ran. So when I was hearing the comments, I just thought, I need to tell them to take it seriously. Because you guys are going to grow up soon. You guys are going to go to college, and you're going to have to make a decision of whether or not to take things seriously, and whether or not to drink and drive. So I hope you guys will always remember Frank Winslow and that cheery smile that he always had. Thank you.